you can do the following instruction. First, suppose I have a memory location, and I'm going to call it X. And suppose the first thing I do is put a 10 in that memory location. Okay? Now in programming, you can do something that you can't do in algebra. Because in programming, the equal sign is not an equal sign as it is in algebra, it's an assignment sign. So I can write something like x equals x plus 1. Does it make good algebraic sense? No, it's ridiculous, agreed? But what it means in programming is that the current value of x is assigned to be the old value of x plus 1. It's an assignment statement. So what does this cause the x to now contain?
11?
Yeah, use calculators if you need them. So this is the way it was always done. Now you write this instruction several hundred times in the computer program. Now Dennis Ritchie loves speed, and he doesn't want you to have to write that much. So he invented a new notation. If you write x plus plus, this stands for that. So the instruction x plus plus means that you increment x. You increment x. What do you think x minus minus stands for?
Increment.
Yeah, you're right. So you see these instructions are shorter, faster, and he picks up speed. So if x plus plus increments x, if somebody wanted to increment the C programming language and they were a nerd, what would they name the new upgraded programming language? But C++, agree? Okay. Now I don't know why the story of why C# is called C#, but well, maybe it's a sharp language, I don't know, so I'll leave that for someone else.
That makes sense.
What was that?
Put them
C
together.
plus plus and then more
Plus
two
plus.
pluses, so 4 pluses is sharp.
Oh. 4 pluses.
See that?
Sharp. Yeah.
That happens to be so. So, personal assignment, find out if that's what actually happened, let us know next time. Okay, good.
Let me think, yes.
Okay, now, before we go to break, I'm going to add one more piece of interesting information. Of course, when the C language came out, everyone said COBOL is dead. Me too. I was a COBOL programmer at the time. I said it's over, you know. Let's go out to the club, you know, come back and forget it. COBOL's gone. So instead of common business-oriented language, we've called it common obsolete business-oriented language, and we wrote it off. And I did other things for a few years, and 10 years later, I needed some more money, so I went back to programming, and I read the one ads, I wanted a lot of COBOL programmers. There's still a huge demand. Okay, so I made some more money. And now today, there is still a huge demand for COBOL programmers. Now I want somebody to tell me why the COBOL has not gone away. Gene?
Because it's so integrated in their systems, they haven't updated it yet.
They haven't, they can't afford to. It's called legacy. They have so many programs, enormous programs, that function well, written in COBOL, that the cost of converting them is not even considered, can't even think about it.
So they hire people that were from the COBOL programming era to come in and work in COBOL?
I say, that's what I did, right. And they still do. And in fact, this book here tells you right now that this last sentence, starting with the word however, Shoko, can you read the last sentence on page 536? However. However, the last sentence. However, with a large percentage.
However, with a large percentage of business applications still written in COBOL and many original COBOL programmers reaching retirement age, there is still a need for programmers who can program in the conventional.
It never dies. Okay, so you can still, what they're doing is trying to tell you, yeah, you can still learn COBOL and go out and get a job, and it's true. It was written off 4 or 5 times, and it's like that mythology, it never dies, it keeps coming back. Okay, let's go to break, it's 5:38, come back at 5:48.
How'd you do on that test, Jeff?
89 or 7 or something, pretty shitty. It's like 8 questions on one page.
That is 12 on the fucking fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I missed 10 there too.
Stupid ass things.
I put Connecticut. Connecticut is the right one, right?
That's what I put. That's what I
It's
read.
web etiquette.
Huh?
It's web etiquette. That's
It's
what the book said.
Connecticut. The book says Connecticut, that's what I did.
That's what I found too.
And I
Really?
put light bulb, those are the 2 ones that I had questions on.
No, I put bulb. Yeah,
Yeah.
And he marked it wrong. I was like,
You just said light bulb like
Bulb.
5 minutes ago.
But
too.
then
I
he's
was like,
like-
you just said it.
Then he says vacuum tubes /
Yeah.
light bulbs, and I'm like, I said bulb. Like that's close
Did
enough.
you
I know
really?
what.
Oh, I put light bulbs and you just put vacuum tube. But yeah, I read that, I know it said Connecticut. I was like, yeah, oh yeah. Because I read it, I'm like, of course, like, what else would you call it? You know, that's a common name.
I see her. Is your husband friends with Josh?
You know him?
Yeah, they're our friends. My wife is friends with Josh and Carol.
Is your wife an officer?
No, she's Nora. She works here at the office. She
Your
goes to-
wife is Nora?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
She is
Um,
so nice.
Were you guys going to Sapporo?
Yeah. Are y'all supposed to go
Yeah.
to?
So we're gonna be Sapporo buds.
Oh, awesome. Oh, super cool.
Yeah,
I had no idea. I didn't know who else was going. I just knew other people.
Mm-hmm.
So, is that it? Just us 6?
And then our friend Holly. I don't know. if you
Yeah, I
know
met Holly when I worked at FSS.
Yeah, so.
I don't know if she remembers me.
So it's like 7 people. So
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Be a good time. That's like mid-February. It's coming right up.
Yeah, it's like in 2 weeks. But I'm excited. That's cool. I didn't know that.
I hope I can answer
You
any
did-
dumbass
what'd you make?
answers and stop
80?
asking me questions.
90?
I got an 82.8.
Okay.
So I was 0.5 off of an
I didn't study.
Oh, I thought you
I-
had the 95.
I think he got the 95.
You probably
You did?
did.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it immediately as soon as he
I think it was one of you two because y'all finished first. I'm like, because I was burning
No.
through that. I was like,
I was like-
flip, and you guys are done. I'm like, fuck, I got like 4 pages left. What the hell?
No, I was like,
Yeah, when you guys finished, I was like,
it was in my short-term memory, so I was like, I need to get this down.
that's basically what I did too.
Yeah, I
No.
didn't even
There's
study.
some of those that I got right too that you marked wrong.
I only
I
took
don't.
long. I went through the first 9 pages like that night, and then the second I was like, I'll do 9. Like I was like 18 pages. That's ridiculous. So I did like
Yeah.
half, and then the next night I was gonna do half.
Yeah, I
I
did
got
half
hella
of that.
busy. I didn't do it, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident on this
Yeah.
test, but then I took it. I'm like, I should have kind of
I felt it like I
over a
just
little bit.
felt like I just put like
Yeah.
random stuff. Like,
Yeah, the next time I'm just gonna remember the falses,
Uh-huh.
because there was only like 4 of them.
I got every single one of that right. I don't know. I'm like really surprised. I did not study one though. I just took
You
it.
did not want.
I thought it was on front. Nothing.
Oh, we're talking about the other class that we're all taking at the same time.
Yeah, I said,
Conveniently.
Nothing.
So you can keep telling lies for 4 months.
You know what year Cobalt like officially kind of died? Like, but didn't obviously. It's like officially died.
I would say,
95ish.
85 or so.
Yeah, I took a couple semesters of Cobalt in '96.
That was its revival. That was when it was back.
Okay.
It had died and been resurrected.
You're right about the C# thing.
Are you serious?
It came from
I mean,
4
it's-
pluses?
It makes
I don't
sense.
believe
So this is, it was inspired from the musical notation. The sharp indicator that written note should be made half step higher in pitch. It's similar to the name of C++, where 2 pluses indicate that the barrel should be incremented by 1. The sharp symbol also resembles the ligature of 4 pluses symbols, 2 by 2 grid, further implying that the language is an increment of C++.
I never would have known that, and that makes the whole night right there.
Totally makes sense.
go home.
You were the one that figured 4 plus?
Yeah, cause I saw it, I'm like, you said the increment thing, and I was like, oh, sharp, and in my head, I was
I
like,
could
two
have looked
more
at that for
pluses.
400 years, and I did.
Alright, I just learned what hashtag was like a few months ago.
What?
It's like, what the hell is this hashtag people talk about? I'm like, oh my god, what the hell's wrong with pound? Like, we've been using that forever. Can't, it's not good enough anymore?
Well, it's culture specific. I mean, everybody does hash, but only a few people do pounds. Mhm. So another minute, and so let's, when we come back, gonna do some review and probe the preparation that has taken place. Okay, so Mike,
Hi.
Marcus, Manuel, Atkinson,
Marcus,
you, can you tell us the 5 steps of the program development life cycle?
yes.
Go.
Can I read my notes?
Sure, of course, that's what notes are for.
That's what notes are for. You ready? First step is problem analyze.
Excellent.
Second step is program design.
Hi,
Third step is program coding.
hi,
Fourth step is program debugging and testing.
Hi.
Fifth step is program implementation and maintenance of the
okay.
program.
Now, can you pick one of those 5 and tell us a few words about it? Your choice.
In step number 1, program analysis,
Yeah.
is problem analysis. Is where you look at the program and decide if there are any problems within it that needs to be addressed.
I'm not sure whether you actually read the pages or read the outline table of contents.
Well, I actually read it, and I actually answered it in the back of the book, so what
Oh,
are you
that's
sure
fine.
about
I
now?
mean, why don't you just give up and read the text? I know it's
Well, I'm not
long,
on that page.
foreboding. Well, we don't wanna go with what you just described it as,
Oh, okay.
because it takes place long before there is even a program existing.
Really?
So as Gene's about to tell us, how would you call program problem analysis?
During this phase, these specifications are reviewed by the systems analyst and the programmer, the person who's going to be, who will use a programming language to code the software program according to these specifications. They will determine the programming language to be used, how the new program will need to interact with other programs in the organization, and other important considerations.
That's from the book, or those your own words?
Straight out of my head, my rectal database.
I memorized all that.
Okay, so the analysis takes place when somebody has the bright idea, why don't we write a program to do this? So they're not gonna just go with that, they're gonna analyze the problem and see is this susceptible to being solved by a computer program, agreed? So you analyze the problem and you say, yeah, we can solve this with a computer program. So then you have to design the computer program. Now, when you design the computer program, you just do it with rectangles and diamonds, you block it out. You haven't yet chosen a programming language, you're still a long way from writing code. But all you do is write the data flow through the program, decisions that will be made. For example, if you're going to calculate somebody's taxes, you say, well, we're going to input his salary, agreed? Then we're going to input the tax rate, then we're going to multiply the tax rate times the salary, and we're going to output the result. So what you have is 2 inputs, and they both go into a calculational box where you calculate the tax, and then you output the result. So you have what's called a data flow diagram, where parallelograms are data, rectangles are operations, and what would you say that a diamond was? It's a decision. For example, if tax paid, then okay. If tax not paid, then call police or something like that, agreed? So this is yes and no, where you have a decision to be made. Then you use a diamond. You go into the diamond and you take, you branch one way or the other. So the diamond is a symbol for that. So this data flow diagram was used in the design of the program, as were other, besides the data flow diagram. So let's go to page 513. And you see what indeed the data flow diagram, which is here called a flow chart, the flow of data with these particular symbols. And so if you were going to write this computer program before you wrote code, you would go through this design phase where you track the flow of data. It's got nothing to do with your coding language, you haven't even chosen it yet. And these were tedious to write, and they were replaced by reality. It turns out that, as beautiful as these diagrams are, nobody ever drew them. What really happened is that the programmer was called into the office of the executive who wanted the program to be written. And the executive told the programmer what he wanted. And the programmer took down notes on a sheet of yellow legal pad. That was prescribed, it had to be yellow legal pad. And what he wrote down was half English and half code, because he was already blocking out some of the code, he'd already chosen his language, and he threw in some English statements as well. It wasn't English and it wasn't code, it was called pseudocode. And he went back to his desk. Did he draw a flowchart, or did he begin coding immediately from his pseudocode? Immediately. So an example of the pseudocode 514 in this box. Now if you type this into a compiler, it won't compile. It's not syntactically correct. And if you give it to an English professor, he won't read it because it's not
Grammatically correct.
go there. But to the programmer, it's his whole world. So he goes from here to actually producing the program. And flowcharts are nice in textbooks, but that's about all they're ever actually used for. So now we've gotten down to the actual design of the program. The program is designed. So working from this flowchart or pseudocode, what does the programmer do next? He produces lines of code. He codes the program. Now, some lines of code might be add, or input or output, or they might be repetition. Like, do these next 5 instructions 25 times. Loop through them. Looping instructions, agreed? Or they might be other types of instructions. Now, I don't need to go into detail because you're going to do this. That stopped. The joke. So let's go to page 537. 537. Now in the middle of the page we have a word called basic. Okay? So Jeff, can you tell us what BASIC stands for?
Beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code.
Sounds like you, doesn't it? Now BASIC was written by a Dartmouth professor as a teaching language. Turned out to be so good it got actually used commercially. But it was invented to teach, and it's very good at that. So now this box at the right contains some typical basic instructions. Input, okay? You're going to input a number at the input device, probably a keyboard, agreed? And you're going to read a prompt that says input a number. That's the prompt. It's going to be typed out on the console. And whatever number is entered is going to be labeled by NUM. NUM labels the memory location that that number is put into. What does the next line of code do? Kazuza, what's the next line of code do? Sum equals sum plus num. Remember, equals is an assignment value. Does it take the old value of sum and add your new number to it? Exactly what it does. Okay. Now next, you bump the counter. Why are you counting? Because for some reason you want to enter you want to do this loop of instructions more than once. So how many times do you want to do this loop of instructions? Twice, until count to equals 2, agreed? What would you change if you wanted to do them 6 times?
6.
Until count to equals 6. So this is called a do loop. It's a repetition instruction. And you can loop through it if you want, okay? And then when count to does equal 6, you go to the next sequential instruction, the NSI. You break out of the loop. And you guys are going to do a basic program after you finish your access. Something to look forward to. Right?
What program is that gonna be using, or what are we gonna be using, basic?
Basic. Basic. Right. And you're going to understand compilers, translators, assembly language, object files, source files. You're going to understand all that by putting your hands on and doing hands-on. So I may have mentioned before, there's a hands-on project. I believe in hands-on teaching. And as I may have mentioned before, this is why they don't let me teach anatomy. Okay, so let's go back to the next step. You've coded the program. What do you do next? Well, you put it in production, agreed? So, Mike, as our table of contents expert, after program coding, what's the next step in the program development lifecycle? Check your notes if you want.
Of course, I did that. So I can check it. After program coding, you would then program debug and testing.
Okay, Kazuza, what does it mean to debug a program? Yes, but what kinds of error does it take? Sierra, when you debug a program, what kinds of errors are you detecting?
Like mess-ups in the code?
No, these programming languages are very strict. If we look at any example, you see there are only certain words you can use, agreed? For example, you can use, in COBOL, you can use the word compute, but you can't use the word calculate, because it's not in the syntax. What do we mean by syntax? We mean the vocabulary of permitted words that you're permitted to use in your code, called the syntax. So if you use a word that is not in the permitted list, you have a syntax error, agreed? And if you do such a word, then the compiler that's attempting to translate your code into assembly language doesn't know what to do. So it crashes you and says, please learn how to use this language. And it highlights the word that you did wrong. It's called a syntax error. And your program is not yet testable, it's detestable, because it won't even run, because it won't even compile. You can't even produce a deck of zeros and ones. So you debug until you can produce a object deck of zeros and ones. It's got bugs in it. Now, the other type of bug is you have the right words, but the order is in which wrong. So word said, order wrong, words understandable, sense yes, no, sometimes. So you see, these are called grammar errors. You have the words in the right vocabulary, but in the wrong order, and the compiler goes crazy again. So those are called syntax and grammar errors, and you won't get out of the compiler for them, debugging errors. But when you get a clean compile, you can run the program. It'll actually run to completion and produce results. The only trouble is, it might not be able to run to completion, because suppose that you tell it to divide by the number of students, but unfortunately in that class the number of students is 0. So is it possible to divide by 0? No, so you get a runtime crash. The code is good, but the data is not calculatable, so it won't run. Okay? So that's called a runtime error. Now the last type of error that you get is that the program compiles and it runs perfectly. But unfortunately you told it to do the wrong thing. It's your fault. It does exactly what you told it to do. but you told it to do the wrong thing.
It's not what you meant.
Hmm?
It's not what you meant.
It's not what you meant. The computer, you know, should know what you mean. But it did exactly what you told it to do, such as, for example, if you tell it that if the taxes are paid, then call the police. Right? It runs, but that's a logic error. You had the wrong logic, agreed? So that's the fourth type of error is a logic error. Okay, now you catch all of these types of errors in the test phase. Okay? So after you've tested your program, then you're supposed to do a type of testing called exhaustive testing. So Shoko, what do you think exhaustive testing means? Exhaustive testing. Answer, you test until you are exhausted. Or you test all possibilities that the program could encounter. All possibilities that the program could encounter, you set up test data for and you run. And if it passes all of those, then the program has been tested. Now in the year 2017, is that done? Or does Microsoft and other companies release products and wait for you to find the errors?
They do, don't they?
The latter.
Yes, exactly what they do. Now you say that's not ethical. And when that change first came about, which was around the 1980s, many of us were ashamed and bothered because the companies were taking a new position and it was acceptable to them to release programs for sale commercially that had not been fully tested. They say, test them 90%, we'll let the customers do the rest. They'll report, they'll find them, don't worry, they'll report them, and then we'll issue an upgrade.
More money.
Sometimes. Right, so it really bothered us in a craftsman sense. But the logic is that a modern day program is so huge, complex, and complicated that if you tested exhaustively all possibilities, you would be here for 10 million years. You just can't. So you're forced to let the customers find them. And sometimes they don't find them for years.
Is that
So,
like what patches do? Like when a patch is released
yeah, they fix the errors
that they
that
found?
have been reported. Yeah. That's what patches do. Now, once it's been tested and you decided to go with it, then the program is up and running. It's called implementation. Now the next step is called program maintenance. Now why does a program need maintenance if it's been tested and it's up and running? Well, one reason is not all the errors were known, agreed? So you get errors reported, you have to go in and fix. The other is that it's a changing world. The program that you wrote today doesn't fit the world 6 months from now. So you called in and said, it's a new world, we have to make these changes to your program. So it's not much, so we want you just to squeeze it in around the new programs that you're writing. But then a study was done and it turns out that maintaining a program is 40% of the time of writing it. So that was when the supervisors finally decided to allot time in a programmer's daily schedule to maintain programs instead of squeezing it in around the edges of new programs. It's just a huge job. Okay. Now, so Jeff, what's the step after program implementation and maintenance? What's the next step? Hint, what does the C stand for?
Commerce.
No, PDLC. What does the C stand for?
Oh. Oh, Jesus.
Program Development Life
Cycle.
Cycle. So what's the step after program implementation and maintenance?
Cycle.
Program analysis. It's too old, it's too late, your program's history. That's right. Job security. The world has changed so much that you gotta do it all over again from scratch, agreed? That's why it's a cycle. What's the average usable lifetime of most computer programs, Jeff Green?
What's that? Jeff Green? 18 months.
Jordan Green. 18 months, not bad, 3 to 5 years. And then you have job security, you get to write it all over again. The world has changed too much, right? Okay, so we went through that, and what I came up with is that some people were fairly well prepared, because they knew where to go to read the answer. But I didn't pick up much internalization at all, so we're going to reassign the chapter. We reassigned chapter 14 last time, because I didn't pick up much internalization, so we're reassigning chapter 13. It's fascinating reading. I don't see how anyone can put it down until they get to the very last letter,
Page turner.
to read the history of programming and all this other stuff. So the ball is back in your court. Okay, who is ready to present their data access project for peer review? Jeff, go first. He's a dealer.
In light of the taboo of my original idea, and the fact that it was under something you quoted, what did you say ours was, under?
Not complicated enough?
Yeah, under complicated or what have you, I've changed my idea.
That's
So-
what peer reviews are for, by the way, to get bad projects stifled as quick as possible before they eat up time, resources, and mentality.
So, yeah, so instead of doing the drug thing, I changed it to, hold on, sorry, these things, strip club. And
Nice.
after doing some of the analysis on that, I found it was a little, like, I was kind of the same situation, like the customer thing, so then I changed it to whorehouse, because it's more of a organized.
Tell us about it.
Huh?
Tell
Yeah,
us
I would
about
love to if my thing wants, it can come back to me because it's not open.
I think he just got shy.
I'm not, I swear, it's an icon, it's just sitting there not doing
So
nothing.
basically in one of your statics, you'd have.
Oh,
all-
so yeah, I
all
kind of,
Your
one
wing.
static is, the ladies, and then the other one is the customers, and then like specific, like
Specific what?
requests by the customers,
Requests.
and, the statistics of the ladies, like maybe their, not their gender, their, nationality, eye color, hair color, sizes.
Where are you gonna go with this?
I don't really need more, am I
I mean, what type of reports do you wanna get out of it?
gonna go? Oh,
That's the purpose of a
yeah.
database. Wanna get some weird queries, or? Okay, why are you designing this database besides just enjoying the pornographic aspects? Why are you designing this database? What do you want out of it?
I want, oh man, glasses, go first.
You're doing it backwards. The first thing you do is not design the database and say what I can do with it.
Why?
First thing is say, why do I wanna do it? What do I want out of it? Okay, what do you want out of the database?
I don't know.
Well, then,
I'll start all over.
okay, second, who's
Okay.
next? Go.
So I kind of tied mine to Word just to make it easier for me to input information, but basically we have a whole bunch of different types of equipment, which would be my one static, and then all the different locations that it can possibly be at via.
To be in use.
Correct.
It's mobile equipment.
Basically has locations where the jets are parked. So the relationship between those two are called deliveries. And what I want from my database is to know, to be able to find out what specific piece of equipment has been to what different locations on a certain day. So a certain day or time would be, the day and time would be my composite key in the relation.
Respond.
Thumbs up.
Well, it's a little vague to me. Do you, is the equipment going to be used by a location, or is the equipment going to be used by a plane at the location?
It's a support
people.
like people, right?
Yeah.
You don't care, it's just gonna go to the
Yeah.
location?
For the purpose, I mean, even in our job, we don't care what they use it for, we just know,
No, you
they
don't.
just need it,
You just
and
gotta
we
put
take
it
it there.
Got you, okay, so it's at the location.
may
Now,
not
what are
be-
some attributes of the location? Flowers, or?
Well, the one thing that, I could come up with that was actually useful is if the location is in use or not, if there's people working there. So that could be like a yes or no. Is it in use or under construction or,
That's very good. That's good. Okay, and how about, yeah, like you say, distance to the location? You might want travel distance time?
I could put that in there, yeah.
Yeah. So you want to come up with some attributes. Okay, what do you want out of this?
I want to be able to track where every single specific piece of equipment has been to on any given day.
Okay, now your piece of equipment's, or does each one have a unique identifiable serial number, or is it a type of equipment of which you have some copies?
It has a unique,
Every one.
every single one.
So then it would have, every serial number then would be of a certain type of equipment.
Correct.
Mike's learning this, as you say, he's picking it up. Okay, so, it would be a type of equipment, okay? And what would you want to say about this item?
So the different columns in my
Attributes.
attributes would be the field number, which is the unique identifier, the equipment type. I would also want to know whether that item is serviceable or not,
What does service equipment?
Usable.
that it's 100%
Oh,
fully mission capable.
okay,
or
so it's green light, is
Correct.
it can go?
If
Yeah.
somebody, so if I code a piece of equipment as not mission capable or red, but then I try to enter it as it's been somewhere that day, then it can.
Yeah, did you also want a rival date in your inventory shelf or something like that?
Oh, what?
Yeah, rival date, when did you first lay eyes on this item yourself? Or when did it come into your shop, or?
If it was not mission capable
No,
or not serviceable,
No,
No.
he means, he's maintaining,
Acquired,
not
when-
receiving.
you're maintaining them.
Yeah,
Oh,
so,
His equipment.
oh, so they cycle in and out,
correct.
they come back, all right. Okay, now again, we don't wanna complicate this, we wanna keep it small and simple,
Right.
and, so yeah, you can go many, many places with these, but we don't wanna go to most of them. Because we don't have time, this is a small, simple report. Okay, how many say, okay, start coding. Okay, next. Sir,
Yes, I am doing a hospital, one of the two that you said we could do. I have differentiated a little bit
go.
as well. So I wrote up a little bit of a mission statement. The database is basically to ensure optimal enrollment of appointments so that no clinician or room is double booked, and to ensure compliance under all state and federal mandates with regards to tracking appointments.
Wow.
In
So,
7 days, okay, go.
well, it's pretty basic actually. There's two static tables, one for the doctors who are gonna be working and the other for the rooms. Now, we need to know when the doctors are gonna be working their office hours and when the rooms are gonna be available.
Very nice, so it's not doctors and patients, it's doctors and rooms.
Correct.
That is a nice spin-off. Okay, so the rooms, have descriptions, we can get attributes of the room very easily.
Mm-hmm.
So your composite table would be one doctor in one room
Correct.
on one day, and do you want a range of times or just a start time?
I think just the start time, just to, because there's no, you can't tell the doctor you're only gonna be in here for, you're in there as long as you need to be, so. They set the appointment, they're in the room. But then again,
Now, would the composite table be scheduled ahead of time, or would it be historical record after the fact?
both, it would need to be scheduled, so that way, when people are calling in, the person who is handling all the appointments can see, no, you can't go in that room, no, you can't see this doctor because he's already got an appointment or he's not working, this room is not serviceable.
So
It's-
this doubles as an appointment list for the doctor then, just coming out of the rooms. Interesting, very useful. I think there's a lot of gold there. There may be problems, as there always are problems, so expect them.
Okay,
So, we have a go?
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, okay.
Okay, next. Shoko, face the class, talk a little louder than usual, so they can hear you, please.
My project is about dance instructor dispatching business.
Dance instructor,
Yes, dispatching
dispatching, business.
Yes. And one statistic or static table is customer.
Customer.
Is the team name or purpose, like a basic dance
Stuff.
lessons or
Yeah, what they want to learn,
yes
okay,
to do.
yeah.
And genre, like jazz dance or hip hop or ballet or something, and the ages of students.
Date of birth.
Yes. And the other static table is instructor's name and their specialty and experience record or career and charge amount. And I want to figure out the appropriate matching.
So your composite table would be what? The table in the middle, what would that contain?
Middle is the matching.
Matching?
Yes.
So you would match who with who?
Team and instructor.
Team, so it's a
Yes.
dance team,
Yes, dance team. And
all right, with the instructor.
yes.
And they would meet at a certain date and time?
Yes,
Yes, because they're gonna meet more than once,
yes.
so you have to uniquify it. Okay, now, what else would you carry in the, in that composite table? For example, in the university composite table, we had the grade that the student got in the course. So what would you do?
Composite key.
Not the key, but the non-key fields, the secondary, what secondary field would you have in your composite table? Such as the
Location.
success or,
Oh,
right?
Location, where the dancers are going, I thought you said she wanted to know where they would be dispatched.
I think that's a complication, we're not sure we wanna go that far. She's got enough now. But what, they're gonna have a teaching session, agreed?
yes.
And so maybe you can grade the teaching session, good or bad? Successful,
Yes.
alright? Yeah, so you might try to find something that you can track in that.
Are you going to assign the dance instructors a number too? Cause you just said name in there.
Yes.
Will they have like an employee number, a unique number?
Yes.
Don't send your dancers to Jeff's club either.
That would be a great idea.
Maybe the dancers have 2 jobs.
Well, what about Shoko's? She good to code? Okay, now, Shoko jarred something that's been in my mind for a few days. I knew there was a third standard example besides hospital and hotel. And it's the social dance. The social dance, okay? And the situation is this. Somebody has set up a social club, okay? And ladies can come, and guys can come, okay? And one lady will dance with one guy, okay? At a certain time and date. And that would be the database. So one static table is a list of your lady members and other dimensions or other things that you want to name about them.
I see, look at me.
And the other would be a list of your male customers, their income and other.
You're stealing mine, that's my idea.
Name about
Just put a
them.
new label on it, call it yours.
No, this has prior existence,
That's social.
It's been done. And what the composite table is a dance.
Hold on, we gotta write this down.
And the dance, then is danced by one female, one male. We're keeping it simple, okay? And there's a time and date that the dance took place, agreed? Now, some other attributes might be type of music, agreed? And the most interesting attribute would be the result of the dance. Slap in the face, they left together.
Wait, is that part of the dance, or?
The result of the dance.
Oh,
The result of the dance, okay?
Shady, not-
What kind of dance are you thinking about?
So that's a standard topic, it's been done. And so it's out there for people that want to look at a standard topic also, it's out there.
Smack dancing.
That's good.
Okay, so who's next?
Uh,
Jordan Green was a
Oh,
little
you go
faster.
ahead.
Anyway, so mine's pretty basic. Do a chiropractor for my static tables. I'll do customers and employees on the other one. For customers, I'll give them IDs and attributes. It'll be their date of birth and female and male, so gender. And then for employees, it'll be, they'll as well have an ID, and it'll be their date of birth, their history, how long they've been doing chiropractic, working on people.
No, date of practice start, you don't
There
lose
we
how
go.
long, you have
Alright.
to update those fields.
Alright. And then gender as well. And then for my dynamic table, I have my customers coming in for appointments, 2 specific employees, and then for those, so those would be my 2 keys for,
Date and time.
and then, yeah, date and time, and then as well as length of the appointment.
No. Well, yeah, okay, you can track the length, but so, okay, that's fair. Okay, length of the appointment. Any other attribute that can come out of the appointment, like, success, non-success, or
Yeah.
what to do next?
Follow up.
Follow-up, prescriptions, so it's good, and it's very similar to what Gene's doing, which is a medical, which is a specialized medical, but he's got a wrinkle on it, so yours is fairly different. He's doing rooms. Sir?
What's, I'm not quite sure I understand the significance of having everything that we've talked about, like the students and the patients and the customer and employee. You suggest that we have an ID number or some
Mhm.
type of number to identify that.
Mm-hmm.
What's the purpose of having an ID? What's wrong with just having a customer's name or?
Mhm. Okay, what's wrong with it is what I said was wrong with it a week
Yeah,
ago.
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
No, it still hasn't changed, it's the same thing I said a week
Yeah,
ago.
I'm trying to hear that again.
Oh, you wanna hear it again?
Yeah,
I forgot, we're paying
Why is it
attention.
you wanna hear it again?
because I don't recall why it's important to put an ID number.
Oh, so you want me to do something twice? With all the things we
Am I the
have
only
to
one
do,
that-
it's okay, I don't
Know how to
mind.
answer that
I
question?
don't mind, but,
Maybe one of the students can
yes,
answer that
they
question.
all can, Mike.
Alright, which
Pick one, anyone that can tell
Anyone.
you. Go ahead.
Alright,
Multiple entries.
Except Jordan Green, he'll tell you, he'll tell you it's because that you don't wanna use names.
Confidentiality.
Okay, any one of them will tell you why you don't use alpha keys. Go ahead. Pick a student. I'm serious. Go ahead. Ask a student.
Sierra.
Sierra, why don't you use names for key fields?
So you don't get repeats, so you got our number.
You get duplicates, right?
Right.
Duplicate names,
Misspelled names.
misspelled names, differently spelled names, and all of the above, right? And many more that you can think of. Entry problems, recall problems, you can't call up the data on the right person unless you type in the key correctly. So you type in the key slightly wrong, and you can't locate that data.
However, if you don't wanna use a key, you can use a drop down.
Oh, yeah, now, that's what he's saying, is that if you have a drop-down list
There's no
in which you enter by name all of your patients one time, and enter by name all of your doctors one time, and you confine your lookups to also a drop-down list, then you can circumvent this problem. So that's very good. And if you use nothing but control, where they have drop-down lists, and they never have to type a name except once on the original entry. And then if they type it wrong, it's gonna be wrong forever, but that's it. So yeah, that would circumvent that problem and permit you to use names. So I don't see any negative on that yet. Does anyone think of any negative on just using drop-down lists?
Depending on the size of your field,
Size of the
They have-
field?
duplicates, I mean, if it's a group of like 20 people,
I think if you have a whorehouse where maybe your staff changes a lot,
Oh, turn around.
you gotta go in and change it all the time.
Wow.
Change the names in the drop down.
Well, you gotta change the numbers if you
Yeah,
use numbers.
that's true, yeah.
why you
That
gotta-
doesn't change. The other thing is, that you need to set up your drop-down list so it won't accept duplicates.
Correct.
I think that can be done though.
Good to go.
And, but you're absolutely right, if the drop-down list is too long, then it's too tedious to
Yeah,
use.
And you're thumbing through hundreds of names.
Something like that, I mean, very successful, I mean, your establishment could be very successful,
Probably mine would be.
and, that could happen. But yeah, it to be considered that you can circumvent those negatives and control, alpha names with drop-down lists. So I tentatively, say it can be done. I'll see if I can find any future negatives on it. I like to find negatives.
What about
Thank you.
like usernames and
Pardon me, ma'am?
email addresses and usernames? Like,
Yeah, email addresses are also fine, except a lot of people don't recall them, so when you try to register them, they maybe don't know it or something like that. They usually know their name.
And they gotta know their phone number.
Yeah,
Phone
and,
that's true.
there are weaknesses. The thing about numbers is that there's no negatives, except the fact that this might be an artificial number and not meaningful. And, the customer might not know their, number at lookup time. For example, local clinics and hospitals, they give you an ID card first aid. And if you don't bring that card with you, they can't look up your records. But here on base, they're better. If you, they just ask for your last four, then they find duplicates, right? So then they ask for a second round of information,
That's fine.
something like that. But the Social Security, the last four is a hard number, it's a good number. So there are no real strong negatives to numeric keys. There are possible negatives. What are you doing over there, sir? You're not texting, right? We don't text in here.
Alright,
Okay, so I don't know what you're doing,
I'm finished.
You don't do any of it, you don't even start. Okay. Good. Okay, so let's continue. Who's next? That wasn't a sufficient answer, okay.
Yeah.
Jordan, we're evaluating yours. Okay, any more comments? He's gonna do chiropractic. Did we vote on this?
Good.
Good to go. Okay, we're narrowing the field down. Jeff is still getting his computer operational. Sir, ma'am, Sierra.
Close
It
enough.
happens. Can I say mine?
Please.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm ready.
You're a sir, right?
Yeah.
That's
So I changed it up a little bit. I got some inspiration.
Please bring us up to date. What was it last time?
It was like a restaurant?
A restaurant.
Or, no, recipes, maybe.
Why don't we just start over?
Okay, so let's just start over. So I want to do a pizza restaurant.
A pizza restaurant.
Yes, so, like a pizza business, which is kind of a restaurant, but, so I wanna do my 2 static tables. I wanna find out what people are ordering to fill the orders. Is that a no-go already? I can tell by these tables. So, I want a customer table and have their, customer ID, first name, last name, phone number to reach them, if something happens, address to deliver it, and then I'm gonna have pizza orders. And then I'm gonna have, meal order ID, quantity they want, the delivery method they're planning to use, the payment method, and then any comments to the, cause that's kinda traditional, comments to like the pizza man, like special requests. And then, oh, that was my
Composite.
composite, and then my pizza table is gonna tell me what the customer wants, so what kind of pizza, the pizza description, the pizza price, how long it's gonna take it, so just so the customer knows about how long.
Prep time.
Yeah, prep time, that's why I put extra toppings, so if they want some extra toppings, that'll be a drop down.
Beep, 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 beep.
That would be in your.
Yeah, right, right.
Extra toppings.
Composite, that's a composite entry. Jeff nailed that right away, right? That's a specific to that order. It's not,
Oh,
you
okay.
see, your other static
I
table is
see.
not gonna be what they
The
order.
pizza won't change.
But the other static table is going to be what you offer, not what they order, what you offer,
Right.
what they can choose from. So you list your basic pizzas in your second static table, and
And
then in the composite table, you can add personalization.
Yes. And that's about as far as I've gotten.
I think it's pretty far along. You've got the most attributes or toppings on your composite table of anybody. So that's very rich.
See what you did there.
I actually put my pizza descriptions, they're not very descriptive, but I put like, for the cheese
Spare us,
pizza,
spare us, spare us.
I put, hold on, hang tight, I
We're
put
gonna give you
cheese Louise for the pizza.
Oh.
And then the description is, I don't wanna sound cheesy, but this pizza is Gouda. That's my pizza description. I'm thinking
I
about.
tried to
making more
stop her,
cheese.
I did try to.
You tried.
You're doing so well, it's like, oh, man, next topic.
So,
I can't wait to see this. And the rest of the class can't either, you're gonna show it all up here.
I am so excited, I can't.
Now, there must be at least one pun in every
Pizza topping.
record.
There is
Yeah.
at least one for each different.
Can I do two?
At least one. Okay, this is gonna be interesting to see. I don't know if it's well enough defined now, so let's review the definement of it, so you don't do any wasted coding.
Okay?
You've got a static table of customers, right?
Yes,
With the usual customer stuff.
yes, like,
Pizzas.
You've got a static table of pizzas that you offer,
yes,
and each entry is a different pizza,
yes, sir,
and each one would have a base price, agreed?
agreed,
And a preparation time,
correct.
and anything else that you want to know about it.
Mhm.
Then your composite table would be one customer ordering one pizza. So would it have to be at a different day and time? We haven't gone there yet.
Since it's an order, we can do that, so,
Would you have, can you do it, would you have to? Because can't the same guy order the same pizza the next night?
day and time on the composite one,
Yeah,
right?
you have to
Yeah.
uniquify
Or
it.
their order of what they want.
That's right, this unifies that particular one. Now, suppose he orders two pizzas, what are you gonna do with that?
There's a quantity on there.
No,
Different
not two of the
pizzas.
same, but two different pizzas.
Oh.
That's why you do peer review, what are you gonna do?
So if you want two different pizzas.
Yeah,
Well, she owns a restaurant that they can only order one, that's it.
One
One
pizza
pizza
at a time.
It's a specialty.
that's why
Is
I'm
it gonna
teaching.
create
It's
two
a
lines,
specialty
like two
restaurant.
orders?
Exactly, George
That's-
H. has it, you just do
Yeah.
two entries in the, composite table,
That's how I would,
Definitely not.
handles it,
that was,
Just one pizza.
they would just
One
have
pizza
this,
limit.
they would just have the
Solve.
same date and
Move on.
time,
sure,
same customer
But
names,
Same
different-
customer name.
two different
pizza.
pizzas, same time though.
yeah. And,
Yeah.
yes, okay, any other things that we can suggest? And now, see, we should not have okayed this 3 minutes ago, because it wasn't clean enough yet, it wasn't tight enough. It's getting closer now. Okay? And comments, remarks, like you say, feedback, no pun intended. Okay, we'll vote.
Good?
Okay, next,
I don't think those names, but go ahead.
You could.
next.
Pizza names, but I.
Okay, we got a couple of people left.
Jesus
Um,
Christ.
Kazuza, you have something for us. What are you going to do your access database on? What is your topic? be what, please?
The popularity of souvenirs bought by tourists from overseas.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said. Does anybody?
Popularity of souvenirs.
Popularity of souvenirs? Okay, continue talking. Yeah. Tell us more.
Well, study.
Static table of,
Table will be the status of tourists. Key field will be the nationality, and the secondary field will be whether they are family or young couple or elderly couple or peer group.
so these are customers? People who buy them?
Yes.
Okay. A customer table. All right.
And the other one will be the souvenirs monthly sold at the gift shop.
The what of the gift shop?
Souvenirs sold at monthly sold at the
Monthly charges? Did anyone?
The
get
souvenirs sold at the shop, the different types,
sales?
the different types of souvenirs.
Different types of souvenirs, inventory, what you have stock, what you're selling, the items you sell. Okay, that's good. And then what would your composite table be?
and I been stuck.
Well, listen, let me suggest, your composite table would be one customer buying one item.
Okay.
So what would your key field be for that composite table? What would your key fields be? A sale.
The nationality of consumer.
No, that's in the other mass static table. That's in the customer. So would you not need the customer ID? Who bought it, agreed? We need the article they bought, true? And also you need the date and time in case they buy another one later. You could also include the negotiated price or any other items of the sale. I think it's going to be very clean. Any other suggestions? It's nice, it's running a little shop. It's natural, it's good. No one's run a shop before. In some way or other, Jeff's getting close. Okay, so for Kazuza, vote. Okay, start coding. Okay, who's left? That's it, huh?
Jeff.
Oh, Jeff.
I don't know, one, I'm busy trying to figure out y'all's. I'll get back to you. I have to do it right now? I'll keep my same scenario, but I'll change it like your little, what is he called?
The dance
His
thing?
dating service, whatever?
No, it's dance.
Oh, your dance
Is he
thing.
degrading my?
I know, I'm saying that you're kind of stealing my thunder, but
It was
calling
the
it
same
something
thing, but
more or
yours
less
was
taboo.
for a different,
If it's
Dance.
the same thing, you haven't lived yet.
Right.
There's something you should, never mind. Okay. Okay, let's hear it.
I guess what I need to find out is, I'm trying to find out which, same kind of thing as him, with the same, which rooms are available for which customers specifically.
For your harem,
It's not a harem.
which rooms are available, which girls are available?
Yeah,
Is
which
that where you're
girls
going
are
with this?
available instead of rooms, or which girls are available for whatever, which customer wants, what, like, so I guess we'll assume the girls have specific qualifications, and the guys want specific, you know, requests the specific qualifications that specific girls have.
so, customer,
So once
products,
customers,
and
one,
time.
yeah, there you go, and room. Wanna make sure that, we
Well,
don't wanna
that's
double
another
look, I
dimension.
mean,
Now
unless
you-
they
you're
want
gonna
that.
have three static tables. Now, you're either gonna, you have customers and girls, or
Yes,
you're
that's it.
just gonna forget the customers.
Oh, just
So
in
like,
rooms
like
and
Gene
girls?
did, he just says what the hospital offers, he's got
Oh,
doctors in
yeah,
rooms.
okay.
So you can go with just girls in rooms,
Girls in rooms.
or guys in rooms, let's not be discriminatory.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah, 'cause there's a lot of those kicking around. That's tough.
Businesses on both.
So,
So
yeah,
you're gonna not do the customers.
yeah, so I'll do static as girls, static as rooms, and time as, so it would be time and date.
No, I don't
Maybe
wanna actually
composite.
say this, but what would be
And
the
room.
attributes of the girls?
Oh,
Don't go there.
Man, I don't wanna go.
Okay. Now, so the rooms,
Fake name.
what would be the attributes of the rooms? Why is one room different from another?
Well, some have hot tubs.
Ooh, different themes.
Tell us more.
Some have, like, circular beds that like,
Which one do you like best?
the one with the mirrors, those are cool. They're great.
Okay, so the rooms have,
Yeah.
attributes.
Yep, smoking, non-smoking.
Rooms have attributes. Girls are never mind. Now, that's getting into the, well, okay, that's okay. So the rooms, now,
Yeah, that's composite.
now, what the purpose of Gene's is so that the doctor is known to be available. But you see, there's an inherent difference between Gene's Hospital and your brothel. I think Gene's Hospital operates on appointments. I'm not
Right,
sure,
mine's walking.
yours is walk-in, so you see,
Yeah.
you can't do this with walk-ins.
Gotta have an appointment.
You can do it with appointments, but
It's like ordering some
Yeah,
weed.
there you go.
yeah, so what would, look put it this way,
Just have to
what
make
reports would you get out of the database, what would you use it for?
Oh, yeah. What else?
Exactly. Now, you see, Gene answered the question, he would use it if a patient called up and asked for the availability of a doctor.
I guess I could use mine to find out which rooms are popular versus which ones are never used. So if I have like a backup of, like, everyone wants to use the hot tub room.
Okay, so what you, oh, so I see what you're saying. So then, your composite list would be one girl in one room at one date and time.
Correct. Well, maybe.
And then the number,
I don't know.
No, keep it simple, keep it simple.
and then the number of times that
If
line
you want more
that's-
girls, you know, it could
that's
be
specific.
pay double for that.
And what you could get out of this composite table is the work done by a room, the work done by a girl,
Correct.
and popularity, as
Of the, right.
pointing out.
Won't you just?
And that would almost be like two composite, wouldn't it? One for the girl, one for the room, because they both
No.
have different attributes.
No, those are both statics.
Won't you just
They're both
upgrade?
coming
No, in
from,
addition to the static. Because the static is the girl and whatever. Oh, yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Do you think this needs more thought?
Yeah, a little bit. Why don't you just,
started.
why don't you just upgrade and do a call girl service where you got girls and you got customers and you got customers calling in for the girls for appointments?
That's illegal. No, it's ridiculous. Trying to get me in trouble here? I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
So what you're describing is legal,
Yeah.
just check.
In some states.
I think this needs more refinement, it's
Okay.
almost like you're just making it up.
I
as
am,
you
like I
go
said,
Okay, let's postpone this,
okay, yeah.
cause you gotta nail it down a little tighter,
Roger that.
before we have you invest time that maybe you won't see fruition of. But we had a good result, people came in with what they were assigned to come in with, they came in with their plan of action. And in all cases, you released the code. So what is the next step that we want to see? By Monday, we want to see, by Tuesday, by Monday, we want to see your 3 tables designed. The design of your 3 tables is complete, and your relationships are complete. Your relationship tools is done, one-to-many in both cases. And then we want you to have a form entry for each one of your 3 tables. And we actually want to populate it with some test data. Now, I strongly recommend that you don't test it with more than 3 or 4 lines of data. Some people really get carried away, they enter 20, 30, 40 lines of data, and that's lost when they have to make a basic change, which often happens. So just use a little bit, 3, 4 lines of data, and you don't have to type in a whole field, you can just type a placeholder, like XY or XYZ or something, just to see how things are operating. And once you get a total success on your design and building of the database, then you go to fire up, to data entry. Often the data entry isn't even done by the same person. It's done by other people who handle data. So your job is not the data entry, you just do the test data. And all your test data is going to be removed when you release the product for use anyway. It's going to be released, it's going to be empty. So don't try to overpopulate it too early. So to review, what we want for Monday is your 3 tables will be designed, and they will be related to each other in relationship, and you'll have an entry form created for each one of them. So please bring this in on a USB that you can plug into this computer. Bring in the one file database that you've created, or put it in some location that you can access on this computer, email or Google or wherever you put things. And then you're going to come in, turn it on, and ooh and awe your classmates. And they're going to make comments. So that's what we're going to do for Monday. Now we want to get this out of the way so we can move on to the programming project. Sure.
So that's the grading is next Monday, right? You're grading it.
No, because I've only told you about 60% of the things that are going to be in it. So you're already starting to work, overlapping with my telling you what to do next. So, parallel processing.
Okay.
Mike's saying that this was supposed to be a breeze of a course. I see the look on his face. Okay, I'm glad you're
You're
fine.
telling us everything we need to know, so it's easy.
Yeah, so the trick is to remember it.
What's the chapter for Monday?
I haven't contrived it yet.
Okay.
But what's really bad is that except for 1 or 2 instances, people still haven't done the last 2 assigned chapters. So this is deficiency going around. However, just to select it, the next one will be chapter 5. We've done our 2 special chapters, 13 and 14. So we're going to go back to next sequential chapter, 5. We did the special chapter 14 so we can do this project database. We did the special chapter 13 so you can do your next project, programming. All right, so we're good to go.
10 questions?
Yes, thank you. 10 questions, chapter 5. Good. So now I'm going to take the next step on passing on to you what you can do in Access, and I've got one thing up here that I thought I might